Good morning, class. Today, this is lecture 2 of your topic linear transformations. So today we will discuss about the subspaces. Now consider a linear transformation from V to W. As you know, a linear transformation is defined from one vector space to another vector space. In this lecture, we will discuss about the subspaces of these two vector spaces V and W. Okay, so now my linear transformation L is defined from a vector space V to a vector space W. Now consider a subspace of V. It is assumed that if I consider any subspace of V, then it is definitely mapped to subspace of W. Means if I consider any subspace of a vector space V and then apply the linear transformation over that subspace, then definitely the image will be a subspace of W and vice versa. So now let us see this thing through a theorem. Let V to W be a linear transformation. The very first point is consider V dash to be a subspace of V. Then it is defined as L of V dash will be L of V such that small v will belongs to V dash. Then this L of V dash is an image of V dash in W, because W is what our mapping is towards W vector space. Then L of V dash will be an image of V dash in W, and we need to show that this is a subspace of W. In particular, you can say that the range of L is a subspace of W. This is the first point that we will show in this theorem. Second point is consider W dash to be a subspace of W. Then L inverse of W dash will be all those V's such that L of V belongs to W dash. This is nothing but the pre-image of W dash in V, and we will show that this is a subspace of V. Now moving towards the proof of this theorem, firstly we will define these two sets. Suppose you are having a subset V dash of V, which is considered as a subspace in the theorem statement. Now image of V dash will lie in W, because my defined linear transformation is from a vector space V to W. So if I consider any subset V dash of main vector space V, then its image will go to W, and it will be defined as all those L of V such that V belongs to V dash. Similarly, given a set W dash contained in W, then the pre-image will be defined like this, where small v belongs to capital V such that L of V will belongs to W dash. Now to show the first part, we have to show if V dash is a subspace of V, then L of V dash in W is a subspace of W. Means if my defined linear transformation is from a vector space V to W, and if I consider any subspace of V, then I'll consider a mapping over that subspace. Then it is a part of W, and it is not only the part of W, but it will be a subspace of W. Now starting with the proof of first part. Now since V dash is a subspace of V, it is already given in the statement. If it is a subspace, definitely the zero vector will belong to this thing. That means 0V. This 0V is a zero vector of a vector space V. So this will definitely belongs to V dash by the properties of the subspace. Then 0W is equals to L of 0V. This we have did in the lecture number 1 of the linear transformation, that if we apply a linear transformation over the zero vector of V vector space, then it will come out to be zero vector of the W vector space. And this will belongs to L of V dash. Hence L of V dash is not empty. Why we are showing this thing that L of V dash is not empty? Here our question is to show if V dash is a subspace of V, L of V dash is a subspace of W. If you remember one result which we did in the vector spaces, that to show that particular subset is a subspace, the main thing is we need to show all those 10 properties which a vector space satisfied. which set we call as a subspace if itself is also a vector space under the same operations of addition and multiplication as the main set. But we did one result. If we are considering a non-empty subset of a main vector space, then rather than showing all the properties, it is enough to show that the given subset is closed under addition and scalar multiplication. Then definitely that subset will become the subspace. Okay, so we are using that particular result here. For that, we need to show that L of V dash is a non-empty subset. So here you can see that L of V dash is a non-empty subset. Hence, to show that L of V dash is a subspace of W, it is enough to show that this set is closed under addition and scalar multiplication. So firstly, for under addition, suppose two elements W1 and W2 of L of V dash. What we need to show here, that if W1 and W2 are belonging to L of V dash, we will show that W1 plus W2 also belongs to L of V dash. Now by definition of L of V dash, W1 will be equals to L of V1, W2 is equals to L of V2 for V1, V2 belongs to V dash. Then consider W1 plus W2, this will be equals to L of V1 plus L of V2, and this can be written as L of V1 plus V2 because L is a linear transformation and this is the first property of the linear transformation. Now, since V dash is a subspace of V, therefore, if we consider any two vectors of V dash, then their sum will also belongs to V dash. That means, how we have defined this LV dash set? It is belonging to all the sets where the small vector is belonging to V dash, and here also V1 plus V2 belongs to V dash and W1 plus W2 is a image of this particular element. That means W1 plus W2 belongs to L of V dash. So if you will see here how we have defined L of V dash, it is all those L of V such that V belongs to, it must be V dash. Just make a correction here. For all V belongs to V dash. Okay, so how we have defined a set L of V dash? It is all those elements which are belonging to your V dash. Second thing, we'll show the property under scalar multiplication. Consider one element W which is equals to L of V for some V belongs to V dash, and let C be any scalar, then C of W can be written as C into L of V, and that can be written as L of CV because L is a linear transformation. This is the second property of the linear transformation. And since we know that V dash is a subspace of V, and if small v is belonging to V dash, and if you multiply it with the scalar, definitely this complete element is also an element of V dash. So here, CW is an image of an element which belongs to V dash. That means it belongs to L of V dash. I'll again say, please make a correction here. It must belongs to V. It must belongs to V dash. So that means C of W belongs to L of V dash. That means L of V dash is closed under scalar multiplication. So basically the situation is like this. We are having a complete vector space V and a complete vector space W. L is any linear transformation defined from a vector space V to vector space W. If I consider any subspace V dash of V and apply a linear transformation over that, I will get a subspace W dash, which is a subspace of W. Means from V to W, if I consider any subspace of V, definitely it is mapping to some subspace of W. Now moving towards the second part of the theorem, here we will show that if W dash is a subspace of W, then L inverse of W dash, which is pre-image of W dash in V, this is also a subspace of V. So firstly, defining the set, L inverse of W dash will be, it is all those V belongs to capital V such that L of V should belongs to W dash. Now, L of 0V is equals to 0W. This is a zero vector in a vector space W, definitely this will belongs to W dash because W dash is a subspace of W. So as per the definition of the set, that means 0 vector in V belongs to L inverse of W dash. That means this is not a empty set. So here again, to show that L inverse of W dash is a subspace, we will only show two properties, that it is closed under addition and scalar multiplication. Now starting with the addition property, consider two elements of L inverse of W dash, then L of V1 and L of V2 belongs to W dash because this is how we have defined this L inverse of W dash. Then if these two elements belongs to W dash, then their sum is also an element of W dash because W dash is a subspace of W, and this can be written as L of V1 plus V2 because L is a linear transformation. Now if L of this complete V is belonging to W dash, this means V1 plus V2 also belongs to L inverse of W dash. This is again by definition of L inverse of W dash because it is the set, or you can say all the V's are making an element of this particular set such that L of V should belongs to W dash. So here if you will see V1 plus V2, L of V1 plus V2 is belonging to W dash. That means V1 plus V2 belongs to L inverse of W dash. Now second property under scalar multiplication, consider one element of this L inverse of W dash and let C be any scalar. Then if V belongs to this, that means by definition of this L inverse set, L of V should belongs to W dash. Since W dash is a subspace of W, so I can multiply any scalar with this number. Then this can be written as L of CV because L is a linear transformation. Now L of CV belongs to W dash, then by definition of my L inverse of W dash, CV should belongs to L inverse of W dash. Hence, this is closed under scalar multiplication. That means both the properties are satisfied. Hence, we can say L inverse of W dash is a subspace of V. Now coming to the very important topic of the linear transformation, matrix of a linear transformation. Now before proceeding towards this particular topic, firstly we will see how we can determine a linear transformation by its action on the basis. Now consider L is any linear transformation from V to W, then we can say if I know the action of this linear transformation on the all elements of basis of V, then I can compute this linear transformation for any element of V. I'll again repeat. Consider a linear transformation from V to W. Since V and W are two vector spaces, if these are two vector spaces, definitely there must exist some basis for these vector spaces, right? Suppose there is any basis for vector space V. Now, if I know the action of this linear transformation on the basis element of V, then by considering that particular action, I can compute all the elements of V under this linear transformation. Or we can say, if we know the action of linear transformation on the basis elements of a vector space V, then it can help us to find out the mapping. Now let us consider one example for this thing. Given is the B equals to, this is an ordered basis for R raised to power 4. Okay. So whenever we are dealing with the basis in linear transformation, we always talk about the ordered basis. Now, L is a linear transformation from R raised to power 4 to R cube, for which we know the action of the linear transformation on all the elements of ordered basis of R raised to power 4. My mapping is starting from R raised to power 4 to R cube. Here I know the action of my linear transformation on all the elements of basis of R raised to power 4, and the given basis is representing in a B set. If you can see, like we know that L of this first element of the basis is equals to this. Similarly for all other three elements. Now we are given with this much data that the linear transformation is producing these results in R cube. Now we will use these values to compute linear transformation on other vectors in R raised to power 4. Consider any arbitrary vector v equals to -4, 14, 1 and 4. Definitely this is an element of R raised to power 4, right? Now what we need to calculate L of v, where v is given by this element of R raised to power 4. Okay. Now firstly, we will find out the coordinate vector of this v. What is the coordinate vector? Coordinate vector, as we have studied in the vector spaces topic, this is nothing but you have to write down this vector in a linear combination of elements of your basis set. Here my basis set B is having elements 0401, -2502, -3511, -201, right? To find out the coordinate vector of V with respect to basis B, I need to write down this particular V in a linear combination of elements of basis B. So if I'll write down this in a linear combination of this thing, I'm getting some scalars 2, -1, 1 and 3. These coefficients will become the coordinate vector for any vector in a vector space V with respect to its respective basis. Okay. Now we need to calculate L of V. We'll directly apply L of V here. That can be written as 2. 2 is a scalar into L of this element plus -1 into L of this element plus 1 L of this element plus 3 and L of this element. We can apply linear transformation like this because we have studied in lecture number 1 of the linear transformation. If you are having any combination of the vectors, then you can apply linear transformation in this manner also. Now, the value of this is already given in the question because this is what? These are the basis elements of V, and the action of a linear transformation on the basis elements of V is already given to you, right? Just substitute these values and you will get the answer. That means L of V, where V was -4, 14, 1, 4, this is equals to 18, 9 and 0. So in general, if you know the coordinate vector of any element of V belonging to R raised to power 4 with respect to the given ordered basis, then you can find out the L of V. That means by just using the action of a linear transformation on the elements of the basis, you can compute the value of the linear transformation on any another element of your vector space. Like V is any other element of your V vector space, and here V vector space is R raised to power 4. You can easily find out the coordinate vector by writing this V in terms of the linear combination of elements of your basis B. And if you know the action of your linear transformation on the basis elements, then you can compute its value. From this above example, we can say there is one beautiful result which states let B equals to this be a basis for a vector space V, and let W be any vector space, and let W1, W2, W3, Wn be any n vectors in W. Then there is a unique linear transformation from V to W such that L of V1 will be equals to W1, L of V2 is equals to W2, and L of Vn is equals to Wn. Now, L equals to, let B is equals to this be an ordered basis, and let V is any another element of your vector space. Now, if B equals to V1, V2, Vn is an ordered basis, and I consider any other element of my vector space, definitely I can write down this vector in a linear combination of my basis element. This is just by the definition of the basis itself. So V can be written like this, where this A1, A2, An will be unique in nature. This is also we studied in the vector spaces, that if we are writing any vector in a linear combination of the basis element, then it will be unique in nature. Now consider W1, W2, Wn be any vectors in capital W. Define one mapping L from V to W. Here I cannot say that this mapping is a linear transformation, so I am just using the word mapping. Define a mapping or a function from a vector space V to W by L of V is equals to this linear combination. Definitely, this mapping is well defined since we have considered that these all AIs are unique in nature. Now we need to show that the defined mapping is a linear transformation. To show that the defined mapping is a linear transformation, we need to show two properties. First property is under addition. L of x1 plus x2 is equals to L of x1 plus L of x2, where x1 and x2 are elements of your V vector space. Second property is under scalar multiplication. L of cx1 is equals to c into L of x1, where c is any scalar. Now since x1 and x2 are two elements of my vector space V, and the basis of my vector space V is given by this B set having elements V1, V2, Vn, right? So that means I can write down x1 as a linear combination of my basis elements. Similarly, x2 can be written as a linear combination of elements of the basis. Then by definition of the linear mapping, that L of V will be equals to A1 W1 plus A2 W2 up to AN W1. We can say that L of X1 will be equals to D1 W1 up to DN W1. Similarly, L of X2 will be equals to this thing. Now consider X1 plus X2. This is just the simple multiplication of two vectors. So L of X1 plus X2 will be, again by definition of the defined mapping, this will be equals to D1 plus E1 of W1 plus up to so on Dn plus En of Wn. Now if you will observe, L of X1 plus L of X2 and L of X1 plus X2, both the things will be same. Hence L of X1 plus X2 is equals to L of X1 plus X2. Now the second property, X can be defined like this, then Cx can be defined in this manner. Taking the linear transformation of this is as per the definition of the mapping defined, that it will be C1 T1 W1 plus C Tn W1. This is nothing but C into L of X. That means second property is also satisfied. Hence the defined mapping is a linear transformation. Now in the statement we said this will be a unique linear transformation, right? Now we have proved the two properties of the linear transformation. Now we will prove its uniqueness. To prove the uniqueness, consider L1 to be another mapping from the same vector space V to W, such that it also satisfies L1 of V1 is equals to W1, L1 of V2 is equals to W2, and so on. Now consider any element of the vector space V. Definitely this can be written as a linear combination of my basis elements, that are V1, V2, Vn for some unique scalars A1, A2, An. Then L1 of V will be equals to L1 of this thing, substituting the value of V here. So this can be written as A1 L1 of V1 plus A2 L1 of V2 up to An L1 of Vn, because L is a linear transformation. As the mapping is defined, L1 of V1 is what? This is W1, L1 of V2 is W2, L1 of Vn is Wn. And this is nothing but L of V only. Hence we can say L1 is equals to L. And if I consider any another mapping L1 from V to W, it is also coming to be same as L only. That means L is uniquely determined. So that's all for today's lecture.